Welcome to another edition of ESI Africa Insights. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Kay Walsh. She's the president of the South African Association for Energy Economics. Thank you for joining us and for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sure. Okay. To start off with, South Africa, liberalized energy market is on the horizon. What do you consider to be the conditions necessary for successful market reform?
Yeah, that's a complicated question, but a good place to start is actually to ensure that there's sufficient availability of supply. So you cannot really introduce wholesale electricity market or a fully liberalized market until there's actually enough electricity supply to meet demand. Because what happens in the situation that we're currently in, where you have a risk of load shedding, is the prices skyrocket. And that makes everyone really unhappy because it means that only those that can really afford to pay a huge amount at the margin get access to electricity. So we actually need to make sure, as a starting point, in parallel to putting in place the requirements to liberalize, that we fix Eskom, we continue to procure sufficient generation capacity from IPPs till we can get to a point where we have adequate supply, and then we can talk about a market.
That's more than a fair point. Get the basics right to start off with. Then, speaking about Eskom, unbundling is slowly taking place. How do you recommend the utility be confined by the proposed market code to allow IPPs and energy traders to grow their market share?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if confined is the right word, but you certainly need to start. Your process of market liberalization starts with unbundling.
Yeah.
And that's what the electricity regulation bill that we hope will be signed into law soon seeks to do. It seeks to unbundle the transmission and distribution networks from the generation, because it's really on the generation side of the market that you're going to create competition. And in time, you might also create some on the retail side around energy trading, so customers can also have more choice in who they buy from. But yeah, essentially the process starts with splitting your vertically integrated utility into the wires business and the power plants. And then, yeah, as I say, you can start to introduce competition in generation.
Okay. And then lastly, worldwide end users feel they pay too much for electricity.
Yes, there's no one who doesn't want energy to be cheaper.
Yeah. As you said, in South Africa, it's no different. And Eskom says the electricity tariff is not cost reflective. So what's the middle ground?
Yeah, so this has really been the focus of my work over the past 10 years, is trying to get South Africa's electricity prices to a more cost reflective level. And as you say, there's always massive resistance to an increase in energy prices, no matter what the base is. And the reality is that we had extremely cheap electricity about 10, 15 years ago. That's no longer the case. I think we're starting to move towards a more cost reflective level. Your sort of middle electricity price in the world was around 110 cents, US cents per megawatt hour, which equates to around, I'd say probably today's money, around 2.20 a kilowatt hour. And Eskom's tariff is at 1.46.
Yeah.
So, it could probably increase a little more to get to that middle area. It's not to say it isn't affected by specific resource endowments and the cost of generation. If you've got a lot of hydro, you're lucky, you have cheap power.
Yes.
But yeah, and I think, in terms of mitigating the resistance to rising prices, you need to look after those who truly can't afford it. And you need to provide targeted subsidies to households who cannot afford basic electricity access. And those need to be very administratively effective mechanisms. So unfortunately, at the moment, while the free basic electricity grant was very well intended, a lot of households that qualify are not getting it.
Okay, thank you so much for your time and your insights and for joining us in studio today. And thank you for watching. Until next time.